Hi everybody, it's 10:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm a qualified solutions provider with Intuit, and I'm going to be walking you through a demonstration of Intuit Field Service Management, QuickBooks' dispatching and scheduling solution. So just a little bit about me and my information. You can reach us at our office number, or you can reach us by email, and you can check us out on our website at fieldserviceadvisors.com, or you can find us on QuickBooks' national website, quickbooks.corrigo.com/local experts. If you're interested in purchasing Intuit Field Service Management, or simply just have more questions, feel free to reach out to me by email or phone call, and I'd love to schedule a one-on-one free hour for you. So we can see if Intuit Field Service is the right fit for you. So here are some of the benefits of using Intuit Field Service Management. We're going to go through these today. And if you do have questions, please feel free to write into the chat box and I'll answer them live as we're going along. And here's the pricing, and I'll pull this pricing back up at the end. So for every login user, you get one login mobile user, and it's $35 per user per month. And if you go over 10 users, it goes down to $31. And if you go over 40, it goes down to $28. And then there are additional there are optional add-on modules, the time card or the service agreement module as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So this is the home screen of Intuit Field Service Management, and it is in the web. And so if you're using QuickBooks Online, it is a live integration. If you're using QuickBooks Desktop, like I'm going to be using today, it is a integration that you have to start through the file menu. And what's going to happen when you do that synchronization is all of the changes that you've made throughout the day or throughout the week, if you're running it once a week, are going to be updated in your QuickBooks at that time. So that would be any customer records that you've changed, any price list items that you've changed. And it is a two-way synchronization between the customer record and the price list item. So if I've updated a price list item in QuickBooks, it's also going to update that price list item in Field Service. And if I update a customer record in Field Service, it's going to update that customer record in QuickBooks and vice versa. The one-way push is with invoices. So if you want an invoice to appear in QuickBooks and you've completed it in Field Service, it will push over that invoice. But if you complete a manual invoice in QuickBooks, it will not create that invoice in Field Service. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a work order, and then I'm going to send it to a technician in the field. I'm going to be using an iPhone today, and I'm going to complete it, get a signature and a payment, and then I'm going to synchronize with QuickBooks and have that payment get pushed over. If you're not taking a payment in the field, I'll also show you that I will also show you that scenario as well. And if you're somebody that's in the office that's responsible for the invoicing, I'm going to walk through that too. So let's go ahead and get started with a customer tab. And I'm just going to select one of my residential customers here. And I'm going to say new work order. And this is the part where you where you're confirming the information with a client, and you're adding, you're editing any site information. So I'd like to edit this. So this is the customer's home. And I'm going to go ahead and verify that I've got Eric's email address on file. It looks like I don't, so I'm going to quick capture that. Okay. Updated his email, so our technicians can send him a receipt in the field, or of course the office can send the invoice or the payment receipt from the browser. So I'm operating right now as the office. So I'm going to go ahead and say, what's going on today. So Eric said he doesn't have any heat. And if you click below here to the site service, you can see all the work order history that was completed at this customer's location. I'm going to go ahead and it does look like they are on a maintenance plan. So if they do have no heat, that's a discount that would be given to that customer. So that's good. That would be good to note if they do have a maintenance plan. But let's see who I am logged in as today. All right. And this is the current schedule for today. So I can see I've got 3 jobs. The technicians run across the left-hand side and the time runs across the top. And then I am going to pull up the dispatch board as well. So I just sent that out to the technician. And I can see that I've got some work orders on the board here. So this is the work order I just assigned. So if I wanted to move that to another technician, I could simply do that. You can move these around. You can click on them and open them up, and a box right behind you will appear. If I wanted to look at what was going on with that work order, I would just have to hover my mouse over the yellow box, and you could see what the status of the work order was and what the category repair was, problem was on this work order at the bottom there. It's yellow because it's waiting to get picked up, and these will change colors as the technician does change the status of the work order. So I will show you that. And it also tracks their location as well. So I can see here that my technician is almost to that job. And here are the work orders on the board here. So this is the scheduled job right here. You can see that Matt has almost arrived. So he may be parked here, or maybe very, very close to it. And you can see that he's not driving currently. So he is stopped. Okay. And this is based upon the location of the technician, the location of the device that the technician is using. Okay, and I'm just going to pull up my iPhone on the screen so everyone can see it. So now I am acting as the technician. So I'm going to come under here under waiting for pickup. And I have 2 work orders here. So the first work order I'm going to go through, I'm not going to take a payment on. And the second work order, I am going to take a payment, because most of the customers that I have, their technicians are not taking a payment in the field. They're just completing it, and then the office is creating the invoice and sending it off to the customer. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to slowly go through these fields. So this is no heat. You've got the address, you've got the phone number for the client if they need to call, and it's waiting to get picked up. So if you need to, you can call the customer to let them know you're on the way by simply clicking on the phone number. You can click on the service address and it'll open up a map. You can also take photos by going to an area that says notes and clicking the addition sign and clicking the picture. You can take as many photos as you want. And there's also this area that says text note that I'm going to come back to in a minute. So now I've repaired that furnace and I was on site for 2 hours. So, but before I do that, I just wanted to run through these statuses. So to acknowledge that you've seen the work order, you can pick it up. If you do have the time card module added on to Field Service, it will track the time based upon the status here. So when I go ahead and hit en route or start, that my time would start being tracked. And when I hit complete, my time would be posted, or if I hit pause. So let's go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm en route, and I'm going to pull up this dispatch board to show you. So you could see it's blue because I've picked it up, and if I refresh this, okay, let's pull up, and I'm going to go ahead and say start. I've arrived, and now I can see it's green. It's just a little delayed. Now it's saying en route. It'll turn green when it's en route, or green for start. So if we refresh it again, oh, still en route, but it'll show start here momentarily, and it'll turn gray when it's been completed. Okay, so the work's been started, and now let's go ahead and complete it. So I'm going to go down here to status, complete, and I'm going to make a note about what was done on that job. And I'm going to use the voice microphone here, which is very accurate to capture an entire paragraph. Customer called in because there was no heat. I was able to replace the coil on the back of the furnace. The unit is in good working order now. I was on site for 2 hours, period. And now I'm going to go ahead and add that furnace. So let me just come back. So I'm clicking here where it says equipment, and then I'm adding that furnace. And now I'm going to go hit complete. Okay, so it's been completed. And at this point, I am not going to take a payment. I can itemize what I did if you have time, if the technician has time to go ahead and itemize his labor and any parts that he may have used. So this is the price list that's within QuickBooks. It would come up right on the technician's phone. But if you don't want the technician doing this part, that's fine. They're going to speak a comprehensive paragraph anyway. So he was on site for 2 hours, he said. And he used a coil. So I'm going to search for some parts. So you can have him do this or not, totally up to you. If he's not taking a payment, certainly don't have to do this part, but you might if there are multiple parts. It might be easier to do this rather than to speak all the parts into the box. It may be easier just to find them. Okay, so now that's it. I've added my items, and now I'm going to go ahead and get a signature on my work order. So I'm going to say accept customer signature, and you can see that pricing is not listed here. Just the description about the work that I did, the equipment that I worked on, and of course this is optional. You don't have to add equipment to the work order. The customer's information, the technician, the time of the appointment, and go ahead and hit accept. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and send it off to the customer. So I'm going to say send work order. And I'm going to click on the picture note, and I'm going to hit send. Let's do that one more time. Okay, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to get the signature one more time. Accept, get the signature, and I'm going to hit done. Now I'm going to hit the square with the arrow through it again, and I'm going to say send work order. And now there it is. Sorry, that signature. That's what I was looking for. So that was the picture note that we took, but I was looking for this signature. So there's the signature, and now I'm going to send that off. And the picture note is available there if you wanted to send that to the customer. Okay, so that's been sent off. And I said I did want to talk about one more area, which is this notes section here. You can go ahead and hit the addition sign and go ahead and pick this option that says text note. So this is an internal notes communication between the office and the technician, or anything that they want to say that they don't want on the work order would go here. I'll give you an example. Customer said that they are no longer the primary contact on this account. He said his daughter, Shelly Ann, is the contact, and she can be reached at 612-487-9255. Also, their garage code is 2815, in case they are not home. They are also interested in a preventative maintenance plan, so they wanted someone to give them a call with pricing, period. And then that is a note that you can add. So this is a great revenue generating spot. Anything that the technician wants to communicate extra that they don't want to be on the work order would be here in this area. So if I go ahead and send off the work, now just to come back to this note that the technician made, you can see this is the note that the customer is going to see. And of course, the office can edit this note. And then, of course, just know that the technician doesn't have to send anything from the field. That's completely optional. So they technically don't have to see anything that the technician said, because this is completely, you can edit this completely before, as the office, before sending it off. So but if you did want them to send something in the field, if you notice, I hit send work order, that text note is not there, that internal note, just the picture note and the signature. So just the picture and the signature, not the internal text note that I had made. Okay, so I'm done with that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start this work order, and I'm gonna show you how to take a payment in the field. So I've added some I added some line items in advance of this work, in advance of this technician going out, because I knew when the work order was called in, I knew the office knew some of the charges that already needed to be added. So we added those in advance. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up and start, and I'm going to complete this job. I was able to fix the motor and belt. I was on site for 2 hours period. Okay, so I completed the job, and now I'm going to go ahead and come to this invoice total, and I can see that my labor is here. I'm going to check on this. Okay, so everything looks right. This is the price that we quoted the customer. They approved it, and they sent it to me to complete. So now I'm going to go ahead and get a payment and a signature. So I'm going to get a signature on the invoice. I'm going to hit accept. And done. And now I'm going to hit the square with arrow through it again. And I am going to say send invoice. Oh, let's do that again. Accept. Okay, there it is. Send off that. And now I'm going to hit the square with arrow through it again. I'm going to say pay invoice. And if you've got Intuit Merchant, that's fantastic, because it is extremely convenient to have the technicians have the capability to charge a credit card right from inside Intuit Field Service. They don't have to close down the app and open up another payment app. They can do it directly through the app. So I'm going to say, let's this, if it was a Discover card, you can put the card number in, expiration date, and hit charge. I'm not going to do that today because it is, that would be live. So I'm going to go ahead and say check. And okay, it's been charged. And now I'm going to email off a copy of that payment receipt to the customer. That's it. So let's come back and see how that looks on the browser. So here are the 2 work orders that we completed in the field. One had a payment, one did not. So let's open up the one that does not have a payment. And you can see that note here that was made. If you wanted to open up that note, you can certainly edit, look at the whole note that the technician left for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create an invoice now. Okay, so labor and parts, I can see have already been added by the technician, but let's say there was nothing added. There's nothing here. You would just pull up your price list items, and you would add them accordingly. I was on site for 2 hours. Yep, just like that. And I've got my part. Okay, so I've added my line items, and I'm going to hit approved and hit save. Approved would be the status that it needs to be in for QuickBooks to accept it. And now let's go ahead and open up the other work order that was completed. And this one's been approved because it was paid by check. So this was a payment that was already taken in the field, so there's nothing we have to do here. If there's something the technician did forget, you can bring it out of the approved stage and continue to edit that work order. So let's open up QuickBooks now and go to File and Synchronize. And then I am going to show you a report after this that you would run every day to find all the work orders that have been completed that don't yet have an invoice prepared. Corrigo is the company that created Intuit Field Service Management for QuickBooks, and Corrigo has been in business for over 22 years. Intuit Field Service Management, like I had mentioned before, is a web-based product that does integrate with whatever version of QuickBooks you are using, if it's online or desktop. If you are using QuickBooks Enterprise, just know that you are currently getting one for user with Intuit Field Service. So if you're interested in activating that user for free, just send me an email and I'll just grab your QuickBooks license number for you and I'll get it activated right away. No charge to you. And you can have your live account that you're already paying for with your enterprise subscription. So if you do have your inventory centers turned on in your QuickBooks, the inventory would be up, the on-hand counts would be updated if any inventory items were used in the field when that invoice came over from Field Service. And this does take a few minutes a day, a few minutes to run. So if you did want to just run it once a day, that would be understandable. I do have customers that run this synchronization every 10 minutes. Okay, so those have been finished. And now let's go find our customers. So there that invoice is. And you can see it doesn't have a payment attached. And the invoice number does become that work order number. So now we would go ahead and email off this invoice or print it off and send it right to the customer. So if you do have QuickBooks Merchant turned on, it is very convenient. This payment link is right at the bottom of this invoice, so they can go ahead and click right on the invoice and get it paid with a credit card, which I know if you were using an outside party, this option definitely does not exist for you. So if you are interested in, if you did take away anything today, I would just think about activating your merchant, and I can absolutely do that for you today, any day that you're interested, and I can take an application for you and get it approved right away through Intuit. They do approve everyone. I have yet to see an application denied, so that's what you're worried about. Have no fear. It'll go through. All right, so who was the other customer? Let's see, it was Craig Burton. Okay, so let's go see what Craig looks like. He was the guy that we did take a payment on. And see, this was a paid invoice. And if you notice, these are inventory sites, so you can look into any of these inventory items to see get a deeper report on them if you want, just by clicking on that that inventory icon there. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was the report that you'll be running as the office person to find out which work orders have been completed that don't yet have an invoice prepared. So I made a report called Invoice List, and this report's available to you already in your queue under Invoices. I moved it to Management so it's a little easier to find, and I'm going to run it. And I am a little bit behind on my invoicing, so there is a list. So what I said is, I want to find all the work orders that have been completed but don't yet have an invoice prepared. It says prepared here, but just know that the only status that QuickBooks cares about is approved. So if it's not approved, the invoice will not be exported. So these are the two statuses that we want. So to see. So I'm going to say generated. And here is my list of work orders that have been completed but don't yet have an invoice prepared. So what you're going to do is export this to Excel, export it, and then one by one go through with a pen and type in this work order number here to the find box, work order number, and 0041 was the first work order on that list. So you're going to hit search, and then here it is. And you're going to go into edit that invoice and prepare it. Add your charges based upon the work done description. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and approve it and hit save. At that point, I'm ready to go ahead and move on to my next work order. So an easier way, instead of typing in the work order number, that's fine too, is just to click on the work order. And instead of having to do an extra click, it's right here for you. So you can just keep this minimized in your Chrome. So at this point, I would just add a work description. If you wanted to, of course, you don't have to fill in this box if you don't want to. And I'm going to go ahead and approve it and hit save. And that is it. And I am going to then move to my next work order on this list. So if I generate it again, you can see that those two invoices that I just completed, 0041 and 0043, have already been done. So they're not on the list anymore. So now I can move on to my next work order. And on and on and on. Add your charges, approve. Add your charges, approved. And then you won't have anything on your list. You just run your QuickBooks report and synchronize, and all of your invoices will push right over. So it's best to try to keep this list cleared out as much as you can. And I understand, of course, there are jobs on there that you just can't invoice yet. So those would have to stay there. So I'm going to close to do my last invoice and then approve it and hit save. Okay. And of course, you can run the report the other way and find out which invoices that you did just approve. So if I wanted to switch this and I wanted to say, hey, what are the invoices that I just approved that are going to be moving over to QuickBooks? It's going to show you those 3 invoices that we just finished. So thank you for your time. I'm going to pull up my pricing and my information. So again, I want to reiterate, if you do want a free consultation, I do an hour or longer, whatever it takes, multiple meetings even for free until you decide if this is or is not the right product for you. You can contact us at 651-927-8850, or you can reach out to us at Rebecca@fieldserviceadvisors.com, or you can go to our website. And here is the pricing again: $35 if 1 to 10, or $31 if 11 to 40, and $28 for 40 and beyond. So thank you so much for your time, and feel free to contact us after the webinar is over. Thank you so much. Tune in next time every Thursday at 10:30.